What's often not talked about is hookup culture as it relates to men. And there are a lot of excuses made. People will say, well, guys got to get it out of their system. Guys are biologically wired for hookup culture. It's different for men. You hear all of those things, but what you don't hear someone talk about is the negative impacts that immersion in hookup culture have on a guy in terms of him being that guy who has a vision, in terms of his ambition, in terms of how he feels emotionally and physically when he gets caught up in it. So let's listen to this section from Dre. This is 1057, and then we'll talk about it.
To sit on that throne in your home. The goal isn't just to build yourself up so you can F chicks, bro. You're a fool if you think that's what it's all about. Hookup culture is just destroying men. Culture tells men these days, oh, just go out and enjoy yourself. Have fun while you're young. Gain experience with women. Don't even hold back. We're taught to enjoy the rewards of manhood, but only embrace the responsibilities of a young little child. All hookup culture is, you guys, it's just, I don't even know if I could say this on camera, masturbation. I'll say that. All you're doing essentially is just playing with yourself, pleasuring yourself while having another person, another woman come in and help you do it. And I know as cheesy as it sounds, bro, but hey, look, this is someone else's daughter, bro. I mean, how effed up is that? What if another man came in and started doing that to your daughter? What if 10 different men, 20 different men started coming in and doing that to your daughter? Just using them as a masturbation tool, a slab of meat that they can just get off to. Would you be cool if they were doing that with your daughter? I mean, if you got a soul, I don't think you would like that, right? I know I wouldn't. So don't waste your time just embracing hookup culture. Our world is in the state that it's in because of this. Be very careful with the type of girls that you date. They could literally destroy your life. I know men in my own life who've gotten themselves so deep into these relationships with the wrong women that their life is literally hell on earth. And then you got...
Okay, so these are really important points that guys need to think about. And I know, again, it sometimes is tendency to excuse behavior, you know, that guys will manifest, such as sleeping with a bunch of girls. Oh, we got to get it out of our system. But think about it. Get what out of your system, A? And what is the benefit that comes from that? From a guy who's in his mid-20s, late 20s, who's engaging in hookup culture? Just think about it for a second. Hookup culture, I think, when it comes to men, it causes you to lose perspective, number one. It can cause you to kind of lose your sense of morality where you're in a numbers game. And in order to be the popular guy, in order to be the guy that the other guys say, oh, look what he did, all of a sudden you become that guy who's trying to like get more girls, like check off that list. Like, did I hook up with enough girls this week? Did I hook up with did I have a good summer tally of girls? And you start to forget that A, these are people, right? 2, they're not objects. And 3, like, who are you becoming in this process? And if you did have a family, great point he brings up, and you have a child one day and that child is a girl, are you going to like pray that that girl doesn't encounter a guy who's behaving like you? You don't want to be a person that ultimately is the type of guy that you would want your future daughter to stay away from. That's bad. So sit and take that moment as a 20-something guy. It's a grown adult man, and think about it. I think that also people forget oftentimes that when you're engaging in hookup culture, where does that go down? You're in the bar more, you're in the club more, you're drinking more alcohol, you're dipping into the drugs here and there, you're being less healthy when it comes to your physical body and your mental health. So things get sacrificed. You know, you're not in the gym as much, you're not working as hard, you're distracted, you're consuming all these substances. That's not a good direction for you. And if you are striving to be that top 1% guy that has that ambition, that has that motivation, that's going to build an empire, that's going to build a business, that's going to make something really good happen, that makes you feel good about yourself, and in turn makes you someone who's desired by women, you don't want to get lost in hookup culture where you're drowning in substances and just a bunch of girls that are meaningless and forgetting your perspective and turning into someone that you're not going to be proud of one day. So it's all a big, profound, like, waste of time. It's almost like you get sucked into this dark hole of hookup culture, and then you got to claw your way out. So again, what I would say to guys is, like, instead of hookup culture, doesn't it sound more appealing to like focus on self-improvement for you, to figure out what would actually make you into a happier, more stable, more financially independent guy? You know, someone that a woman could sink into and lean on. That's a really good feeling as a man, to have a woman next to you who feels really confident in you, so much so that she's like, you know what, babe, I trust you. Whatever decision you make, that's fine. There's nothing that's going to build up a guy's ego ego, like feeling like, you know what, I have done enough in my life and I have proven myself and she trusts me. Like if something goes down, she's leaning on me. That's an awesome feeling as a man. But in order to get there, you have to like track your life properly. You can't sink into the grave of hookup culture where you lose that perspective and all of that important insight. So focusing on self-improvement, getting in shape, getting financially stable. And again, like I wrote down here, numbers game, something that's it becomes that. It becomes in hookup culture. You know, I remember seeing guys that when I was in my early 20s that were in that hookup culture mentality, and they would go through anxiety. They would get depressed if they weren't in the game. You know, in the game meant that you went out this weekend and you were the guy who didn't get the phone number or who didn't hook up with a girl. Suddenly, like there's something wrong with you. You're getting obsessed about it. You're depressed. You're feeling down on yourself because you're playing this game. And it's the whole game is bad for you, right? You can't even, it's like you're stuck in it. It's like quicksand. Hookup culture is like quicksand. You get into the game and you're doing all the wrong stuff and you're sinking further and further. Alcohol, drugs, depression, girls in and out of the bed, losing your self-motivation, losing your ambition, your direction. And then you got to figure out a way to claw yourself out. And a lot of guys don't claw themselves out until they're 30-something. And then you've got all of those years wasted on alcohol and girls that meant nothing when you could have been investing that time into the self-improvement that would put you in a position to get a girl that you felt really good about. And you'd have your pick of the litter, honestly, because a lot of the girls are looking for that guy. And if you really think about it, let's take looks aside and things like height, things like that. Height you can't control, right? Looks is you look like what you look like. You can groom yourself, of course. There's things you can do to improve. But think about how much is actually within your control to change for the better. Like you have choices, you know, the path diverges in the wood, you know, that poem, I think it's like Robert Frost or something. You got to go one way or the other way. If one way is hookup culture and that's into the quicksand of depression, anxiety, all that stuff, and another way is self-improvement, if you could just step back and instead of letting your emotions or your sexual desires make that choice for you, let your head make that choice for you. Take that discipline that you value so much and put it to work in that moment and say, no, you know what? This may sound good for a night, but I don't want to get stuck in the quicksand, so I'm going to do this instead. And ultimately, that's going to put me in a position to get a woman that I really value and who really respects me, and I'm going to be in a better place. So it's not easy in 2022 to avoid hookup culture because it's everywhere. And not only that, media glorifies it for men and women. Because again, the longer they keep you in that quicksand, first of all, the longer they keep you in the quicksand, the harder it is going to be for you to climb out. Secondly, the longer they keep you and the women in the quicksand, then women are delaying, you know, their super fertile years are getting delayed. You're, you know, getting delayed in terms of, you know, when you marry and all of that. So that union is less and less likely to come together and be that stable unit. So there's motivation. There's an agenda here by the system, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you to look at that and say, I'm not playing that game. I'm either going to, you know, find somebody that I really want to be with. It's going to be a relationship that matters to me. And we're going to like, you know, work on this mission together. Or I'm going to stay single and I'm going to focus on what I need to do to put myself in the best position to have that house, to have that car, to be that rock to lean on. If you want to watch the full episode, you're going to click right here. And if you want to ask me a question one-on-one, you want to do a one-on-one FaceTime with a group of your friends, whatever you want, you need to download Connect right now. Click right here and let's get talking.